Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to completely unpack the exciting return of a true city car legend, based on some really fascinating new industry reports. Now, if you've been following the automotive world lately, you know that electric vehicles have just been getting bigger, heavier, and, well, a whole lot more expensive. But what if I told you the ultimate EV has a turning circle tighter than a London black cab? Today, we're going to learn all about the brand new Smart #2, diving deep into its design, its technical specs, and exactly why this tiny car represents a massive strategic shift for the brand.
To really understand why this matters, we have to look at where Smart has been lately. There's a pretty deep irony here, right? A brand literally named Smart recently abandoned their brilliant small designs to sell massive, bloated electric crossovers and SUVs, like the Smart #5. But the big question we're exploring today is, can getting small again with the brand new Smart #2 actually save the brand in an incredibly competitive global market?
Okay, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with how the microcar is making a comeback, then dive into designing the Smart #2. Check out the battery, power, and performance, see why it's built for the city, and finally, map out the strategic road ahead.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the microcar makes a comeback, and how Smart is reclaiming its urban roots.
We really have to start with this number, just 2,974. That is the stark total of vehicles Smart sold in China in January and February of 2026. This perfectly illustrates why Smart desperately needed a new strategy. I mean, China is the world's largest electric vehicle market, so pulling in fewer than 3,000 sales over 2 whole months while trying to push premium SUVs, that is a massive red flag. It clearly showed that moving up market just wasn't yielding the dominance they'd hoped for.
To survive the fierce competition from dominant Chinese brands, they realized they had to pivot, and fast. They needed to reclaim the affordable, compact format that originally made them famous and gave them that unique identity in the first place. You know, this isn't just about nostalgia, it's a literal survival tactic. Retreating to a highly specialized niche is sometimes absolutely the smartest way to survive against tech giants. By offering a true microcar, they're stepping right out of that crowded SUV arena and back into a space where they historically dominated, especially in places like Italy, where the original ForTwo was just a massive hit.
Moving right along to Section 2, designing the Smart 2, a nod to the classic ForTwo.
You can really see how they're keeping that stubby, unmistakable footprint. We're talking short overhangs and a super compact hood. They've also brought back those distinctive round headlights and that classic contrasting roof design. But to make sure it doesn't just look like a toy, they've given it wide wheel arches and large mirrors, which gives it a much more substantial, planted stance on the road. Inside, they're completely upgrading the packaging with some really clever touches, like a space-saving interior bench seat. It's basically perfect for squeezing into that one impossible parking spot no one else can take, all while maximizing the feeling of roominess in a tiny cabin.
Now, a totally crucial point here is how this car was born from a seriously powerful joint venture. On one side, you have Mercedes-Benz handling the iconic styling and design leadership. They're making sure it carries that unmistakable Mercedes luxury DNA and feels like a premium, joyful European city car. On the flip side, you have Geely providing the cutting-edge custom architecture, specifically their bespoke ECA platform. It's this brilliant partnership that blends legacy European design with Geely's incredible, rapid EV innovation.
All right, Section 3, battery, power, and performance. Small footprint, big upgrades.
Let's get under the hood because the engineering here is a fascinating feat. The Smart 2 comes in at an incredibly light 1,130 kilograms. For an EV, guys, that is practically a featherweight. Despite that, they've somehow managed to pack in a 35.7 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, battery. That battery powers a 60 kilowatt rear axle motor, which gives you about 80 brake horsepower. But here's the best part. It offers a solid 186 miles, or 300 kilometers, of WLTP range. For a car designed strictly for the city, almost 200 miles of range is frankly excellent.
And it's not just basic tech either. With a top speed of 140 kilometers per hour, it can totally handle highway stints if you need it to. But the real magic? The charging. You get sub-20-minute rapid charging from 10% to 80%. Just imagine topping up your range while simply grabbing a quick coffee. Plus, it features vehicle-to-load capability. That is a massive, totally unexpected bonus for a microcar, meaning you can literally use the car's battery to power external devices. It honestly punches way above its weight class.
Let's jump into Section 4, built for the city, uncompromised urban capability. I absolutely love this next number, 6.95 meters. That is the turning circle of the Smart #2. To really put that into perspective for you, this tiny EV can actually turn tighter than a traditional London black cab, which are literally famous worldwide for their unmatched maneuverability. Navigating tight alleyways, pulling quick U-turns on narrow streets, darting right through heavy traffic, this car is engineered from the ground up to make city driving completely effortless.
And then, of course, there's the length. If you have ever circled a block for 20 minutes looking for a spot your midsize SUV can actually squeeze into, this 2.75-meter length is the ultimate antidote. It serves as the perfect solution to crowded city streets and impossible parking spots in an era of super bloated EVs. It's just marginally longer than the classic ForTwo, meaning you can still pull off those legendary perpendicular parking maneuvers in parallel spaces. It might look a bit more like a quadricycle than a full-sized EV, but it offers all the safety and tech of a modern car.
Finally, Section 5, the strategic road ahead, looking at global debuts and target pricing. We are looking at a very rapid, highly strategic rollout here. The timeline kicks off with the debut at the Beijing Auto Show this April, which is perfectly timed to test the waters and gauge reactions in that crucial Chinese home market. Then the whole thing moves to a massive global reveal at the Paris Motor Show this October, and honestly, that's a very fitting location given Europe is the true spiritual home for city cars. Following all that, we expect it to hit European and UK dealership streets next year in 2027.
From a business analysis standpoint, this is just a really smart global play. Smart is relying on Chinese production initially. Building the car in China and leveraging Geely's massive supply chain helps keep costs down right out of the gate. However, they're wisely leaving the door open for European manufacturing down the line. If demand completely explodes in dense urban markets like Italy, France, and the UK, setting up a local factory could certainly be on the horizon, as long as sales volumes justify the investment.
And that brings us to the price. With a highly competitive target price of under 22,500 euros for the European market, this car positions itself brilliantly. Sure, it's slightly premium, but for the range, the tech, and that totally unmatched parking convenience, it could finally be the affordable, practical EV that our crowded cities desperately need. But the big question remains, as the rest of the world continues to build massive, heavy electric SUVs, is getting radically small the only way to save the Smart brand? Well, I hope today's explainer helped you learn a lot more about this fascinating little car. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.